everyone, once again, and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and today we're going to talk about the 2015 Run with the Wolves. And to do so is Seth Prince joining me today. Seth,
Hello.
Thanks for joining me.
Very welcome.
Well, let's start off by talking about the Run with the Wolves. What exactly is it for those who don't know?
The Run with the Wolves is a 5K race that is part of the Wayne County Challenge series that IU East hosts, and the Wayne County Challenge is a non-profit organization. And basically, when the 5K, you just come out and you race it, and they give out awards for the top 3 individuals and the top 3 winners of their age group.
So how long is a 5K for those that don't know?
It is 3.15 miles, so it's relatively long. You kind of have to train for it, but it's very doable.
Now, is it more of a competitive race, or is it for, maybe somebody who's not ran one before and just wants to do one for fun? Or
the great thing about the Wayne County Challenge series is that they are for both. The Red Wolves race is usually more competitive because the whole cross-country team usually comes out and tries to race it, and all the local high schoolers, they come out and race it because it's kind of a pre-warm-up for their season. So if you're in shape, it's very competitive, but if you just want to compete, there's over 480 people that you can run with or walk with.
Now, what exactly is the Wayne County Challenge Series that you've been talking about?
It is a non-profit organization, and it's a series of 7 or 8 races that happen all throughout Wayne County. And it just is a chance to promote running in the running community and get local businesses and organizations money.
And what exactly are those different races that are in that series?
I don't know all of them, but I know the first one is Girls Inc. race that happens just down the road from us, and it profits for the Girls Inc. Organization. And the next one is the Fireworks 5K that is in Glen Miller, and it helps promote the fireworks that happen in the Wayne County. And then we're the third event.
All right. Now, you've ran the Run with the Wolves before, and I think you even said you've ran some of the others. How did you do in those?
I actually got second overall in 2013, and I won the 5K race here. And so it's very competitive, and there's a great group of runners that happen with it. It's a very enjoyable experience.
So who is the Run with the Wolves open to?
It is open to anyone. There is an entrance fee for it, and the race begins at 8, but if you can try and finish the 3 miles, you can race it.
All right, and to follow the 5K, there's also a family 1K, and that's the Run with Rufus. Tell us about that.
It's a chance for the little ones that can't necessarily run or walk 3 miles. They get to come out and they get to run with Rufus, and most of the cross-country runners get to come out, and it's just a chance for them to get out and compete just like their parents or siblings.
So have you seen that take place before?
I've actually been a part of that one, and there's some fast little kids out there.
So what exactly was it like to see some of them compete?
It is a great opportunity. I've been a part of the running community here for 4 years, and it's great to see it grow and just have all the new kids come up that go, I want to be like them, and it's wonderful.
All right. For those who are watching and they want to participate in this event, what do they have to do to register?
They have to log on to the Wayne County site, and there you can either mail in your entrance fee. They have a place for that. You can, I believe they have it on active.com that you can enter in that way, or you show up before the race, I think an hour ahead of time or within. I think they shut off the registration 10 minutes before the race, and you bring your money and sign in there here at IU East.
Now, also, if you send in your registration early, you also get a shirt to go with that, correct?
Yes, that is correct. If you sign up the day of, they may or may not run out.
All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add about the Run with the Wolves?
You should come out there. I'll be there hopefully this year, so come on out.
All right. Make sure you make it out to the Run with the Wolves, your chance to run with a national cross-country competitor and a All-KIAC track member. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
Hello and welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. It was a big weekend for all of our Red Wolves who were competing in the KIAC tournaments. But joining us is Seth Prince to talk about track and field. Seth, the weather conditions weren't quite the greatest there, were they?
No, it started off pretty good. It was a nice little breeze, and it was about 40 degrees, maybe got up to 50, I'm not sure. And from then on, it just kind of got colder and wetter, and the track started puddling up. And it's not ideal conditions at all, not the way any of us wanted, but we made the best of it.
And how do those weather conditions affect you and the team?
Well, myself, I ran 3 events, the 3 longest actually. I did the 10K steeple and 5K, which is unheard of as far as I know. So for me, individually, knew I had a lot of miles to go and I had to pace myself. And so the weather, I was not looking forward to it. I kept having to take my clothes off, go out, get wet, then get back and try and dry off and stay as dry and warm as I could.
Right.
For the whole team, we had the tent. We actually set it up and got it all secured so that everything stayed dry as long as you were under the tent. But as far as going out and cheering, the team, we all went through it and everyone had the same conditions, and that's whatever it was.
Well, you also mentioned that you personally were in 3 different events. How'd you do in those 3?
I got 2 5ths and a 2nd place, and ran a total of 12, almost 13 miles. So it was a good warm up for this weekend. Or the Indy Mini. I'm going to try and qualify for nationals. It was a good little pacemaker for me.
Right. How did the team do?
The team, we did as we were seated. We got 3rd, but I think we did very well. We pushed through, and everyone did the best they could.
Now, if Coach Crowley were here, what would he have to say about this past weekend?
I would hope he would say we did very good and we challenged ourselves and pushed ourselves, and that we had a lot of trouble throughout the season with injuries and everyone was getting sick and hurt, and we all just pushed through it and no one sat out. We had a couple of people fall and get hurt, which is very sad, but for the most part I would hope he'd say we did our very best that we could.
And what did he have to say to you guys at the end of the weekend?
At the end of the weekend, he congratulated us on our season, and he's looking forward to next year, hopefully.
All right. Well, also there were 5 of you that were named All KIAC. Tell us about that.
To be All KIAC, you have to be in the top 3 individually. The relays you have to win. So the relays is very hard to do, but to get top 3 is very difficult. We have Rio Grande and Point Park. They're very challenging schools, and so we all did very well.
Right. Now, who all were the All KIAC members from the East?
I was Dylan Cope, Clint Swanson, Grace Eaton, and
Amber DeWine.
Amber. Oh, I'm sorry. She did the triple jump. Oh, Amber, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, you also mentioned earlier that you're trying to qualify for nationals. Of course, you went back in the fall for cross country. But what are you doing to prepare for the spring for track?
The spring, all the times are very hard since nationals, in my opinion, for track is a lot harder to qualify and compete in. Because it's not about place like cross country is. Mm-hmm. It's all about, they have standards that you have to hit, so you have to be on the top of your game and hit the standards. So it's very challenging. I'm preparing for it. I tried to hit it in the 5K and 10K, which I was unfortunately not able to do. So I'm going to try and compete in the half marathon to compete in a full marathon. And the time for that is 1 hour 14, which I'm quite a ways off of that, but hopefully my training this year is going to be able to propel me, and I'll be able to get that time.
Who are some of your other teammates that are potentially trying to qualify for nationals?
The 4x8, they're a couple of seconds off. Hopefully they'll be able to get another PR and school record and get closer to that time. And I'm not sure individually. Clint Swanson might be close next year, but it's hard to get those standard times.
All right. Well, you also mentioned that there's some standards that you have to meet to be able to qualify for nationals. So for you personally, what are some of those standards that you have to be able to meet?
The standards, like I said, for the half marathon, to compete in the marathon, you have to run a time of 1 hour 14 or better. And from there on, the 10K, I believe, is a 31, it might be 30 flat, and from then on it just gets faster and faster.
All right. Well, thank you, Seth. Congratulations on a great weekend and being named All-KIAC once again.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back with more of the recap from this past weekend at the KIAC tournaments right here on Inside IUE Sports.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. We're going to continue our KIAC conference recap. And joining me now is IU East Sports Information Director Kyle Wright. Kyle, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here.
Well, you wanted to add a little more about track, so tell us about how track went this past weekend.
I think I could rattle off results all day long, but I think the thing that would sum up the day the best is I'm going to read off the series of text messages I got from Coach Crowley describing the weather, actually, because I was at golf in Liberty, which is about as far south as Rio Grande, just obviously it's in Indiana instead of in Ohio, but we were about 4 hours ahead of the weather they were going to get, so I kind of knew what was coming their way. So it started pouring rain at about 10:30 in Liberty, and I sent a message to Coach Crowley to that effect. His response, this is at 10:57 a.m. We see the sun. We think we'll be okay. Time goes on. 12:20, I get starting to rain. 1:13, rain, cold and steady. Now at 3:26, we've got pouring down here. And finally at 3:51, weather awful, cold and wet, which is exactly what I'd been dealing with 4 hours before that. So I know Seth alluded to it as well, but for our athletes to put up some of the times they did, they actually managed to still have some school records and some personal bests, even though the conditions, I've seen the pictures, were horrible. Really a thumbs up to them for the performance they had in those conditions.
What were some of those times and records?
The school record was the 4x800 meter relay team. They actually won the event. They lowered the school record to right around 8 minutes. The members of that team were Sage Henderson, Adam Klipstein, Dylan Cope, and Kyle Hall. I know they'd really been pointing to a strong performance in that event all year. And actually, usually the school that wins the conference in cross country tends to win that relay. Rio Grande won the conference in that event, or I'm sorry, won the conference in cross country. So for our guys to finish ahead of them in that particular relay, that says a lot for our distance runners. So that was a first place there. The other first place finish that we had on the day, Clint Swanson, he finished first in the 200. So brought home 2 gold medals along with the all-conference finishes that you talked about in the previous segment.
Now, both Clint and those in the 4x800, they keep resetting the school record, it seems like, every time they're out.
That was actually, we thought, or at least I thought Clint was going to be the winner in the 400. That's been the one he's actually been lowering his times in, but it just so happened to work out the 200s where he finished first. And the 4x800, yes, they keep getting lower and lower. Mentioned possibly qualifying for nationals. They pretty much need to get to where each of the members of that team can run the 800 under 2 minutes, which is kind of the, I don't want to say the holy grail, but kind of like hitting 400 in baseball. That's a benchmark that's really impressive if you can do. So that's going to be, I assume, their goal going into a couple last chance meets coming up. But a really good boost, I'm sure, for them to win the first place at the conference meet.
How'd the women's team do overall?
Finished third. Both teams finished third. The guys with 99 points, the women with about 43 points. The guys had Clint Swanson, we mentioned. He was actually the MVP of the entire meet. And if you're MVP of the KIAC meet, that makes you the athlete of the year as well. So Clint, he took part in 7 events.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure he slept well over the weekend. But he did the 200, the 400, the long jump, which he placed second in that as well. He was second in the 400. He placed with our 2 relays, which is the 4x100 and the 4x400. And he did the high jump, and I believe he did the triple jump. So, yeah, 7 events. He scored in 5 of them, an MVP performance, and yes, he slept well Saturday night, I'm thinking.
All right. Well, moving on to tennis. Tell us how tennis did.
Tennis also had their conference tournament. That was in Owensboro, Kentucky. Brescia University was the host. We went into that as the number 4 seed, and basically we lived up to our seeding. Played number 5 seed Alice Lloyd College in the first round. Won that match 7-2, which last year we were in the 4-5 match also and lost that match, so it was good to get back in the semifinals. That's now 3 times in the last 4 years that IU East has been in the Final Four for the conference tennis tournament. Then ran into a buzzsaw a little bit in the semifinals. Played against Asbury University, which was the number 1 seed. They actually went on to win the entire tournament the next day. Lost that match 5-0. I enjoy getting a chance to play them. They've got a couple really high-level players that probably could have played college tennis just about anywhere, so it's fun to see our guys match up against them. And that gives us the measuring stick that, hey, this is the level we need to be at. These are the types of players we need to recruit. This is the level we need to train at to be able to win the thing. Our goal since we started the tennis program is to win the conference and get a trip to the national tournament, which is basically Mobile, Alabama, on the Gulf shores of Alabama. So anytime we can play Asbury and see the level we need to reach, it's always good to get a chance to do that.
Was there anything that stood out about how the tennis team did this past weekend?
I will say Derek Blank, our lone active senior, he finished his career. He won in both number 1 singles and number 1 doubles against Dallas Lloyd. I'll have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure that's the first time he'd ever played number 1 singles. We had some injuries and situations. He had to play number 1 for that match. So that gave him 52 career victories, exactly 26 singles wins, exactly 26 doubles wins for his career, and he graduates as the career leader in victories both for each event and total. So a nice way for Derek to go out winning a couple matches at number 1.
All right, anything else you'd like to add about either track or tennis?
Track, you'll mention in Wolf Center coming up, but one more meet along with Seth running the mini marathon to try to qualify in the NAI marathon. Hopefully going to have a few guys going to the Hayes Invitational. That's at Indiana University, Bloomington. Again, track and field, unlike any other sport we have, doesn't necessarily matter how you do in your conference meet. Most of our stuff, you finish first in conference, you move on. It's all about racing against the clock, so we'd hope they do well against the clock this weekend. Also want to shout out to Amber Dwyer. You mentioned she was all conference in the triple jump. That had to have been her first triple jump competition ever, because they don't have it in high school, and she hadn't done it all year at the college level. And she went out there and got second against a full field. It wasn't like she got second out of not very many. I mean, she got second out of several in her very first triple jump. So a neat accomplishment by Amber to earn her spot on the all-conference team.
Let me ask you one thing, because I'm curious about it myself. What exactly is the triple jump?
The best way to describe it is the hop, skip, and jump. They have it during the Olympics. I'm afraid to move too much, or else I'm going to knock my microphone and maybe this table over. But you start from way far back of the sand pit and just a hop and then a skip, and then on the third landing you jump. So you kind of jump off one leg 3 straight times, and then before you land. So the measurements you see at the Olympic level are like 40 and 50 feet. That doesn't mean they're actually traveling 40 or 50 feet in the air, as much as I'd like to see that. But that's from that first hop, basically hop, skip, jump, and then they measure from there, and that's what the triple jump is.
All right, well, sounds good. Great weekend for both track, infield, and tennis. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports. And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. It's time to do our golf recap from the KIAC tournament. And Kyle, you were there in Liberty at the Liberty Country Club and witnessed all of it. So tell us a little bit about it.
First and foremost, I want to send a big thank you to Liberty Country Club. IU East was considered the host school. This was the first time we were the host school for a KIAC golf tournament, and they made our lives so easy. Our head coach, Coach Gordon, he obviously wanted to focus on coaching the team. The rest of our staff there, I mean, we know enough about golf to be able to watch the Masters on the final day and know what's going on. But as far as truly being able to run a golf tournament, that wasn't any of our strengths necessarily. And the folks at the Liberty Country Club made everything so easy. They took care of all of the, I guess we'd say, golf management stuff, so the rest of us could focus on what we do best. So just a big thank you to them. We got a lot of positive comments, and they made our first experience hosting the conference golf tournament. The one thing they couldn't control was the weather, which was interesting. But as far as the course itself, they made it a great experience for everyone involved. As far as the tournament itself, itself, it's tough. It's you don't often think of golf as tough, but it's 54 holes in 2 days. So essentially, in 30 hours, you got to play 54 holes of golf. It's 36 holes on the first day, and then you finish with 18 holes the final round on the second day. I guess not as dramatic as we hoped. Coach Gordon and I mentioned several times, because we were checking the scoring, that basically the place that everyone was in, basically after the first 9 holes, is where everyone wound up after 54. IU East wound up in third place. Had a few runs at trying to get into second place. Couldn't quite get there. At the same time, we were never really in danger dropping into fourth place. So a solid third, which is actually above what we were predicted in the not the preseason poll, but the conference ranking that came out right before the tournament. So a good day all around, or a good 2 days, I should say. 2 days of golf down at Liberty.
You're also telling me a little bit ago there was a hole-in-one that took place there.
There was. The only thing that's the first one I'd ever seen in front of my eyes. I'd seen several on television, of course, but what we were doing is I was on hole number 12. There was a baseball dugout there, which was keeping me out of the rain that Coach Crowley was texting me about. So I was fairly dry. It's a par 3, and Point Park's number 5 golfer hit his shot off the tee, and it landed about 10 feet. I was showing you the green basically tilted from south to north, and it landed on the south end and just rolled right into the hole. And at first I wasn't sure who it was, because both golfers on the tee kind of raised their, I'm number 1, so I'm like, well, which one of you did it? I mean, they were both so happy to see something like that. So Coach Gordon came around, and he was excited too. He said, whenever you host a tournament, you want to be able to say that there was a hole-in-one during your event. So only thing that could have made it better would have been if it had been an IU East golfer and not a Point Park golfer. But a neat thing to see happen in front of my eyes.
Speaking of IU East golfers, we had 3 that were named All-KIAC. Who were they?
Had, again, 3 in the top 9. Basically, the way they do it is each school gets 1 representative out of 11, and then the next 5 finishers in the tournament get spots as well. So for us, Franklin Christ was our IU East representative. He finished 4th. I know he was a little disappointed. He wanted to win the thing. Obviously, whoever wins gets an individual trip to nationals as well. He went into the final day. He was in 3rd place, 4 shots back, and he actually was paired with the leader, so he would have known exactly what he needed to shoot all along. And the leader, Will McKenzie of Brescia, won it, and he played great. He went 74, 73, 72, and 72 was a day that was better suited for fish than for golfers. So it would have been a tough thing to beat him that day. But Franklin finished 4th. Then we had 2 guys kind of get at-large spots. Levi Goff made all-conference for the 2nd straight year. He finished 6th overall. And Cameron Cox also got basically the last spot on the team. He finished 9th in the tournament, all-conference for the first time. Levi and Cameron go way back. Levi's from Randolph Southern High School. Cameron's from Monroe Central, which are both Randolph County schools. They're both in the same year here at IU East. They're both in their 4th year. So if you think of all the times they've played against and with each other, the Randolph County tournaments, the sectionals up there, the conference tournaments up there, plus 4 years here, they played a lot of golf together. And getting to see them go out as all-conference golfers on basically the final days of their IU East careers, that was a neat thing to see.
All right. Well, thank you for all of your information about how the KIAC tournaments went this past weekend.
It's a pleasure. It's a busy week, but for the most part, a successful one, and we'll look forward to maybe hosting some more next year.
All right. We'll be right back with more Inside IU East Sports.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Ramachandran, the region's only hand specialist at Reed Orthopedic Center. Patients love how easy it is having everything under one roof and how easy it is to get here. Right here at Reed Orthopedic Center, right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to Inside IU East Sports. That sound you just heard means that it is time for Wolf Center. Wolf Center is where you take a look back at last week's IU East results and ahead to next week's schedule. You can download the Wolf Howl sound you just heard for free by downloading the free IU East Athletics app at the iTunes App Store or at Google Play. Now taking a look back at last week's IU East results. On April 24th, the men's tennis team was in the KIAC tournament quarterfinal. IU East beat Alice Lloyd 7-2. Colton Shipley won at number 1 doubles and at number 2 singles. Also on April 24th, the men's tennis team played in the KIAC tournament semifinal, where they fell to Asbury 5-0. Derek Blank concluded his IU East career as career record holder 4 wins. On April 24th and 25th, men's golf placed 3rd in the KIAC tournament. Franklin Christ placed 4th and was named All-KIAC. Also on April 24th and 25th, the men's track and field team placed 3rd at the KIAC meet. Clint Swanson placed 1st in the 200 and was named the KIAC Athlete of the Year. And women's track and field on April 24th and 25th, they also placed 3rd. Grace Yetton placed 3rd in the 1500 and was named All-KIAC. And taking a look ahead to next week's schedule, on May 2nd, track and field will be at the Hayes Invite held at Indiana University Bloomington in Bloomington, Indiana. That concludes this week's episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.